I want to take my family of 4 to Japan, and I want to do it for under $3,000. That includes food, hotel, flight, and I want to go in the next few months. I think I can do it. Let's go. Now, to be honest with you, I have a feeling that this might not be possible, but I've never failed to believe in myself when I want to do something, and I'm going to show you how to do it too. If you are going to be planning this trip, yes, I said I would like to go in the next couple of months. However, I have actually done some pre-planning before actually going on this trip. And here's the first thing that I want you to know. Points, 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 points. I have figured out the point system in a way that works for me. I am not some financial guru. I'm not here to tell you, hey, I think you should totally work this way. I'm just letting you know how I flew to Japan with bare minimum. Period. I'm an entrepreneur, I own my own business, and majority of the time I do own taxes. Now, here's what I do when I have to pay my taxes. I do pay my taxes with my credit card. That's absolutely right. On the IRS website, there is a space for you to be able to pay your taxes with a card. Now, don't get me wrong, there is a fee, but for me, the fee is going to be worth it. And I said, well, if I'm going to pay the government is going to take me on a vacation. You feel me? Here's what I usually do. First of all, I take a look at the cards that I already have. Before this, I had the Amex Platinum. Now, when I first started doing my research, I was definitely met with prices that were astronomical and were going to throw me over my budget. Specifically, the one thing that got me was going to be flights. I needed to figure out how to bring the cost of the flight down. If I were to fly from Phoenix to Japan, my cost was roughly going to be $1,500 to $2,100. Well, how much would it actually cost me and how many days? And I realized, okay, to break up the jet lag, my point of destination is actually Japan. That being said, I don't mind being jet lagged in Taipei. I want to be well rested and adjusted before I go to Japan. I gave myself and my family roughly 4 days in Taipei. That would be 3 nights. Then I had to ask myself, well, how long do you want to stay in Japan? And are you going to one place in Japan or are you going to go to several places? And I landed on, you know what, it's our first time. We don't need to do a lot. And yes, I know it's expensive to go there, but for me, I said, I just want to stay in one city because I want to actually be able to enjoy the culture, immerse myself and not be thinking about, okay, I got to pack up to go here. I got to go to the next city. With 2 kids, I just wanted to be able to do all the walking that we were going to do and then have a place to lay our head at night. I said I would like to stay in Japan for 5 days. I'm not going to go back to Taipei just for 1 night. We're going to give ourselves 2 nights there. The airline that I have recently flown is going to be Delta. There is another airline, I believe it's Starlux maybe, that does have direct flights from here to Taipei. And I said, you know what? I really don't need a straightforward shot. I'm willing to pay less for a layover. And this is where my Amex Platinum I starred came in handy. Because I am an Amex Platinum member, if I fly Delta, I get into Delta lounges for me for free, and it would only be $50 per family member to bring in. I rarely know how to use the airline credit for Amex, which is roughly $200 a year. And I usually save it and try to figure it out at the end of the year. This year, I had changed my airline to Delta. The layover would be great because that would give us time to shower. That would give us time to stretch our legs before we are boarding the plane to go to Taipei. I then had to play the waiting game. You see, Delta does send out these emails every now and then where they run specials on points to certain destinations. And I needed to wait for that email, and baby, it came through right on time. Let's go back to points. When I paid my taxes, I then looked for a Delta credit card because I do not own a Delta credit card. When you sign up for a credit card to get the maximum benefit of their promotion, usually you will have to spend a certain amount of money within a certain amount of time. The Amex Gold card that I ended up getting, it had a promotion. I believe it was if you spend $3,000 in 6 months. If you use those points, if you use it, keep it past the first year. When you sign up for the Delta SkyMiles, you get award travel discount. That means you get 15% off award travel when booking Delta flights with miles. And that is how we are going to get to Taipei. I signed up for the Delta promotion. I paid the taxes with that. And then I signed my husband up, but I sent him the promotion so that I get the points for him signing up for the card as well. And then I paid the other taxes that we owed on that. And then I found a way to come up with an additional 1,000. So you have to spend 3,000 in 6 months. I paid 3,000 on our bill. That gave us roughly about 150,000 points to use. I waited for the deals. I waited until Delta ran a SkyMiles award deal. And then not only did they run a deal, but I got to use 15% on top of that. I flew my family round trip from Phoenix, Arizona to Taipei for 38,000 points each. Now I got to figure out how am I going to get us from Taipei to Japan. Here's what I decided to do. I then put my browser into private and I looked up tickets from Taipei to Japan. And do you know that the tickets were roughly $176 round trip, and it was a 3-hour flight. So if you think about this in terms of what I saved, one, it allowed my children who have never flown internationally to have a breakup in the time. Two, I flew to Taipei for free. Then it was only $176 to fly from Taipei to Japan in only 3 hours. Now, here's the thing that you might be wondering. Well, you're going to Japan, right? And you're going to Taipei. And as we know, if you are going to fly to Japan, do not pack that suitcase. Next thing I knew is because we were going from Taipei to Japan, it was very important for me to find a hotel that would allow us to keep our luggage from shopping in Taipei while we went to Japan. And as I perused, I came up with the W in Taipei. And baby, if you've never been to the W in Taipei, let me tell you, it is going to put you in a higher tier status. That hotel is elite. The Hilton's just ain't hitting no more. And I found that Marriott was having a promotion for their credit card. And their credit card would give you 250,000 points if you spent a certain amount of money in a certain amount of months. Now, I'm a business owner. Like I said, I have expenses, so that was not hard for me to hit. Even though I had already paid my taxes, I found a way. I was like, everything just goes on the credit card. W in Taipei is one of those hotels where it's sitting there and it's, hey, just want to let you know, if you have more than a certain amount of people in the room, you can't book the hotel. I just didn't put one of my kids on there. And we were fine. I was able to get our nights in Taipei completely free. Completely free. Now, that left Japan. Japan is expensive. When I started looking for the hotels there, I said, okay, we're going to have to go the Airbnb route. I did end up finding an Airbnb that was in a very walkable place, close to train stations and able to get us around Tokyo. We decided to go to Tokyo. And not only that, I needed it to be close to a 7-Eleven because I was trying to start my mornings at 7-Eleven. And as she did, she absolutely did. And I ended up paying roughly $865 because once you get to Tokyo and once you get to Taipei and you are eating street food and you're going to night markets and you're doing all of these things, it is so cheap. I hope that this video helps you, and maybe if you have larger bills coming up, that is a great way to use points. Now, what I then will do moving forward is next year when I have to pay my taxes, I then will sign up for more credit cards because what can I say? I love taking my family on vacations internationally for less than my mortgage. I hope that you enjoyed this video, and I make a lot of videos on this channel. I make videos about being ADHD and just navigating my life. And so yes, going to Japan was impulsive, but I planned for my impulsivity because I know that I'm impulsive, and that's what I want to encourage you to do too. Thank you so much for watching, and if you haven't already, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Yeah, I know I'm new to you, but I promise you, I'm probably gonna make you laugh a few times if you subscribe here. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.